Good morning, everybody. We are back for another Staffing Sharks Review It. I'm so excited today. I'm with my sidekick, like always, KG, Trap Recruiter, and our special guest today, Automated Business Designs, the Ultra Staff Edge software from Chicago. Terry and Jennifer, how are you guys doing today?
Hi, good. Thanks for having us on.
I think you brought the cold to Pittsburgh. We had some snow this morning, so maybe you just threw that my way. But first, before we deep dive into this inclusive staffing software, tell us a little bit about yourself and what makes you guys different in this industry.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for having us on. Just to give you guys a little introduction of who we are, my name is Jennifer Rosemeyer, and I'm a senior digital marketing and brands manager here at Automated Business Designs. And I'm joined by Terry, who's actually the founder of the company and the president and CEO. So we're really happy to be here to talk about Automated Business Designs and Ultra Staff Edge. So Automated Business Designs, we also go by ABD, so you might know us as that. And we've been in business for 38 years, and we develop the staffing software solution, Ultra Staff Edge, which is an all-in-one solution, has a full ATS and CRM, a complete back office with general ledger, accounts payable. We also have a full web portal suite that includes onboarding. We have mobile data analytics, so staffing companies can really drill into data and kind of make executive decisions, see the full picture of what's going on. We also have scheduling for per diem and travel nursing. And we even have a labor dispatch module for day labor scheduling needs for industrial. So we really have it all. It's kind of an all-in-one solution for staffing companies. So they don't need to worry about toggling between a different solution for their ATS or their CRM or their back office. It's an all-in-one solution to help streamline all of their processes. So that's just a brief introduction of Ultra Staff Edge. ABD, as I mentioned, we were founded in 1982, and Terry actually started the company in her early 20s. So it's been really, it's been really amazing to see how much the company has grown since then and how much the staffing industry has changed. There's been so much change. And we're actually one of the oldest vendors of ASA. We joined in 1989. So we've been very involved with ASA. We're also involved with NAPS and SIA. And we're also involved with our local staffing associations. We're headquartered in Chicago, as Richard mentioned. So we're involved with the Illinois Search and Staffing Association. Terry's actually on the board. And one of our customer success managers heads the Young Professionals Group and organizes staffing events for young professionals and those new to the industry. So really like to stay involved locally too. And we're involved with the New York Staffing Association and also the Wisconsin Staffing Association. And we've always found our involvement in the staffing associations is really important because we develop our software based on what's going on in the industry and the latest staffing industry trends. So we've always found it super valuable to be involved both locally and nationally. And all of our developers are housed in our Chicago office, and we write everything that we do. So it's all completely built in-house. So that's kind of some of the benefits of working with us and also about Ultra Staff Edge.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff. Yeah. Real quick, before we deep dive in, once again, Terry, what made you start a company like this as a woman-owned company? I just want to, elaborate about that.
Yeah, it was actually very challenging early on, especially because back in 1982, there weren't that many women in the industry. And quite honestly, till this day, there aren't that many women in the industry. So we've actually gone to high schools giving talks on how, women can get more involved in staffing and in IT, in general. So it was very interesting. I kind of fell into it just as people fall into everything. I find it a very interesting, very exciting industry. It's offers so much to people, and it's just such a pleasure to be involved in it. And just to go back a little bit, my very first experience with the staffing industry was when I was in high school. I was in the business program. A nun put us all on a bus in senior year, took us downtown to an employment agency for an interview. So I still remember till this day the exact scenario. Michigan Avenue, went to this fancy office. I had blue pants on, light blue pants, and I had the pleasure of meeting with Betty Pauls, who was the owner of that staffing agency. So I'm sitting at a little desk in front of this lady, and she was dressed to the hilt, makeup wonderful. She was so put together, and I was completely impressed. And I was completely astounded that there were places that find people jobs, because I had never heard of it before. I'm like, wow, people find jobs through companies like this. So she interviewed me, and I still remember to this day what she said. She said, "You're going to make a beautiful secretary." And I was so thrilled. I ran home. I told my mom, "Oh, this lady's going to find me a job and be a secretary." She never found me a job because my mom made me go to college. And so I didn't get that opportunity. But there's more to the story. And this is, I think, a depiction of the entire industry. So many years later, and this is like 25 years later, more than 25 years, I'm looking at our service order system, because I like to glance at that every once in a while and see who's calling in. And I look and I see Betty Pauls called in a service call for one of our customers. And I'm thinking, could it be my Betty Pauls, who I remember for all these years, that interviewed me in high school? Could she be calling in a service order for our company? So I took the call myself. I called her and I said, "Well, you might think this is strange, but are you the Betty Pauls that used to have the Betty Pauls agency on Michigan Avenue?" And she said, "Yes, it's me." So all those years later, she's working at one of my customers. And she interviewed me in high school, and I just couldn't believe it. And I told her my story, and she said, "You really made my day. I'm so involved with placing people, and just to know that somebody remembers me." And then I thought about that, and I'm like, I'm sure I'm not the only one with this experience. So when you look at the entire picture, how great is the staffing industry that people are touched by them so much, and they change so many lives. And that's one of the reasons why we're involved in this industry. I fell into it. It's a kind of a long story with that. I was actually working at an account downtown, found somebody shuffling through some paperwork. It was a staffing agency, and that got me interested. We were selling wholesale distribution manufacturing software initially. And I worked for a company called EDS in Dallas. I'm not sure if they're a long old time company, the old Ross Perot company. And I was actually servicing business system division customers of theirs. But we wrote the software. I actually bought the software from EDS initially. We molded it to the staffing industry. I was extremely fortunate to get a 15 office account in Chicago very early on in the company, who helped us. And our software was originally developed for direct hire staffing. And then they said, "Well, what do you have for temp?" And I'm like, what is temp? I had only really been familiar with direct hire staffing. So bottom line is, we modified the EDS software, which I bought for $12,000 on a 5-year payment plan. And we actually started that way. And they really just kind of helped us get into the marketplace. They gave tours to other staffing companies, because we actually were the first company nationally to do a multi-user PC. Before then, it was all mini computers. I actually used to install mini computers because I'm a programmer by trade. And so we were one of the first ones in the country. And that is one of the reasons why they bought our software, because we were the first ones that offered a multi-user PC, which was significantly less expensive. It was never tried before. We did 50 users, and we did prototypes, but we weren't actually sure it was going to work till we turned that key. And so Monday morning, that one day was extremely important to us, and everything worked. And that kind of launched our entire career in staffing. And so it's just been a pleasure working in the staffing industry. And there's so many stories.
What a story. KG, you want to elaborate about that?
I do. I want to ask a question, because I'm intrigued. I started out in the staffing agency, but in a staffing agency as a worker, meaning as a recruiter, recruiting IT technical folks, because of the time frame. It was 2000, the year 2000. But as I think back, we did used to think about staffing companies or temp agencies or employment agencies as those people who provided either light industrial work or, like, as you said, secretaries or administrative assistants or executive assistants or office assistants, whatever, name we like to call them. But, no matter what we did, whether, these jobs were extremely gendered, so your Kelly Services really was a woman's company in the sense that, the type of work that they did, they were hiring a lot of women. So I'm intrigued, because I never really compartmentalized it that way. And why do you think that, when the tech boom happened and, more staffing agencies came came up. Why do you think that like a tech systems who was new, I'm just throwing them out there, not to call them out or anything. Why do you think like a tech systems got so far ahead of folks like a Kelly Services who were already doing the work, who were already established in the industry, while they may not have had, a lot of, IT or help desk positions? Why do you think that they got so far ahead of those folks? Is it because of leadership? Is it because folks were more, more comfortable, for lack of a better word, to work with men or see men as these account managers and just see the women as their assistants?
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. And what I have found, honestly, and back in the old days, we used to go to business lunches all the time. So I'd be the only girl at this big round table with men. I mean, we'd go to a country club, all these different things. I'd be the only girl. And honestly, I was never treated as you might think, as they always respected me. They wanted to know what my opinion was. I've had accounts that, just really chose us, not necessarily looking at if it's a women-owned company way back in the day. And so I never really experienced any prejudice toward a woman in the industry. And I think it all boils down to, if you can prove and what you're talking about, and you can prove that you can add value to a company, they don't care if you're from Mars. And I just really never had a negative experience, I have to say, way back in those days. Okay. And I think it boils down to opportunities. And really, I think I wish more women were interested in tech. And even to this day, again, even in my company, we're mostly guys. all the developers, I have one woman developer, everyone else is a guy. And even from a support perspective, we have a couple women, but everybody else is a guy. I don't know why it is, but it just seems kind of crazy. You cannot find it. When we get resumes, they're all top heavy men in the industry, which is interesting.
No,
even me, I was supposed to be an interior decorator. I wasn't supposed to be a programmer. But I just fell into it.
Even calling it a programmer, I mean, we don't use that term anymore. It's a software engineer now, or something else, or a software developer, depending on what company you work for and whether or not they use that they use the word engineer as someone who's degreed or someone who's not. So, I never thought of it that way, because I too, have worked for a staff. Like when I first got out of college, I didn't exactly know what I was going to do, and I went and worked, an office job. And then I moved on, and then I became a recruiter. But it's not that women are. I don't think it's that women are not, or young girls or whatever, are not interested in tech. I just don't know that they see enough folks like you, Terry, who are. Who were interested in the 80s in doing those things. So that could have an impact or have something to do with it. I mean, I have contemporaries who were some of the first, to take on these computer science classes because they were new. I'm in my early 40s, but I have computer scientists, friends who are women, and I'm not sure that they I'm not sure that they saw their gender as a barrier or anything like that, but I will say that it is. They may not, they may power through it, but it is definitely a significant factor, as well as being in staffing. Being frontline in staffing. It is a significant factor. And while I too have been the only woman sitting at a table with a bunch of guys, and for me, sometimes it has been uncomfortable because they don't tailor their conversations, they don't censor themselves. And there's just certain things that I'm not interested in, hearing them talk about. But I also know that they have meetings before and after I'm at the table as well. So, there's things I have to take into account. But I'm happy that you have had a different experience, but for many of us, it's not been as quote unquote comfortable.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the pay scale, women are making significantly less in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I think that's the case, but in IT especially. And when we were giving our high school presentations, we actually did a lot of research in terms of, what the salaries are and how women fit into the entire equation. And it's still it's very different world for women in the marketplace.
And we need to change this big time. I mean, I'm a big supporter. KG knows that, we need to all step up and everybody needs the equal pay.
Yeah, exactly.
All righty. So let's jump into some of this software. I mean, I've been reading about it. Front office. Give us a little bit of detail because, onboarding and everything like that. Every time I talk to people about a solution, they say it's the easiest thing ever. And before you know it, there's bugs and all this, and it's a confusion and it's a mess. Give us a little bit of detail about what goes on in your front office.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that makes UltraStaff Edge unique is that it's completely customizable per your role. So if you're a salesperson, a recruiter, a manager, you can actually customize the whole interface to fit your workflow. So you can create, if you're a salesperson, you can create your own sales dashboard to keep track of sales calls, to keep track of, deals coming in. If you're a recruiter, you can create your own dashboard for your recruiting needs, keep track of resumes, candidates you're reaching out to, positions filled. So really the whole software is customizable per role. And if you're a manager, you can even customize it to view all of your teams and to see how your teams are performing, if they're reaching their goals. And you can even make dashboards based on branches too. So you can view your different branches and see how, everything's working together. So that's one of the things that really makes UltraStaff Edge unique, because it is really customizable per you, because one software, doesn't fit all. If you're a salesperson, or a recruiter, or a manager, you want different things part of our software. So that's really what makes it unique. And it also makes it easy to use and user-friendly because it is built for you. It is customized for you. So a lot of people find the interface really intuitive. So that's kind of one of the things that makes UltraStaff Edge unique in the front office.
That's awesome. And something else is also uploading resumes. I've worked with solutions before, won't mention their names. Resume, can't upload it. You have to do this and that. What makes you guys different about that?
Well, we support the PDF and a Word document, and most of the resumes, I would say, do go in. We do use a Sovereign resume engine, which is a third-party resume engine that we've incorporated many, many years ago into our software. It's very, very solid, does the job. What we do find is when people use a creative style for the resume, pictures will go in, oddly enough, the photos will go in, but if they have a very, very strange format, like some of the Word standard formats that you can do that look very, very strange, that's when you're going to have problems. So I know even staffing companies, I saw a webinar where people were advised to tell their candidates to keep the resume as simple as possible so that it can go into the ATS. Because, staffing firms, they're not going to mess around with your resume. If it doesn't go in, you're going to be attached and they're not going to be able to do a full text search through it. So one thing that we do a little bit differently with our solution is as soon as the resume is parsed in, we create two copies. One is the original copy that gets attached to the candidate record and attachments. And then there's another full text version that's immediately available for full text searching. I know there's a lot of solutions that you have to run some full text searching function in order to make that work, but ours is immediate. So you can go in and do a full text search and you're going to find that brand new resume that came in. And then the other thing that we do in terms of parsing and looking through resumes is to be able to combine keywords, which are your drop downs. So, it might be a drop down for position and skills, and words. So your type common text words. And by that combination, you can narrow down your search with the keywords and then search through the database of resumes that pertain to that keyword segment specifically, such as a location or certain skills or a certain position, etc. But the parsing, it's gotten very, very good. It's really, as long as you keep the resume fairly standard, it's going to go in. It's going to go in first time, every time. And, available for full text search is really not an issue. And then you're going to use that resume for submissions. So you might want to have, one of the things we do is you can have your logo automatically import. So as you're importing the resume, your logo gets imported and put on the top. And we also have a blinding branding function where you can blind and brand. So it would have candidate ID without the candidate name. So if you want to do a submission and you don't really want to reveal, information about the candidate, you can do that as well. And that happens automatically when you import that resume. So wow. just a time saver.
And I do that all the time. I can't market people all the time. And I don't have a software like that where I have to just do it myself. So that's amazing. Just a little click of a button right there and you can send it off.
Yeah, I like how you made it more efficient and easier for both the recruiter on the staffing side and for the job seeker, meaning that, job seekers really get annoyed when they have to copy and paste they're the ones that they've already attached their resume, and then, it's like, yep, I couldn't read that. And they have to go through, and when it does parse, software, you have to go in and retype retype all the location information, all the years, all the dates, your job titles. I've seen it just from the way that my own resume is arranged. So, I do advise people to have a text version and to also have their fancy version that they upload as an attachment. But just to make it easier for them, like I said, to do the copy and paste for parsing purposes. And then again, on the recruiter side, where they don't have to, do the additional work of, I used to sit around and have to, quote unquote, fix resumes or, stylize them and, edit them, get them in a certain format that was acceptable and prettier to be submitted. So I definitely appreciate you guys, being out in front of that so that it does save us a little bit of time.
Yeah, it's pretty important. And we also are able to import a resume from Outlook. We have a special Outlook add-in tool. So you simply highlight the email, click on parse, and it'll automatically create a candidate record and then do the same thing as far as attaching, blinding, branding, etc. And most importantly, checking for duplicates. So you want to make sure you don't have 20 of the same, individual in. So, checking on email, cell phone number, all the phone numbers, that helps significantly in eliminating duplications. And if it finds a duplicate, it'll say, do you want to update the resume for this person? This is the information on the person. Is it the same person or not? Because a lot of times, especially in light industrial, you'll find people that live in the same house, use the same email address, sharing, and it's not the same person. So there are a lot of little, and they're doing a lot of resumes in light industrial now as well.
Yeah, that's interesting because the email is the unique identifier. I never thought about folks sharing an email address and having a different name and then being, showing up as one record. How does your software answer for that?
What it does is it has a pop-up and it says, it lists the information about the record that is suspected to be the duplicate, and then it has the resume on the other panel. And so you can cross-check and see if it's maybe a different name or a different person, et cetera. So, but we do see that a lot in the light industrial where they do a lot of sharing like that. Yeah. They'll get one Gmail.
I see that 24/7 because light industrial is like 80% of my business. So it's like Shelly and John at gmail.com. So they share the same thing and they both want the same job. So it's like, and they share the same phone number too. So when I call, I'm like, oh, they're both in the background. They put me on speakerphone. There it is. I got two candidates for the price of one. Something I like to talk about is this. You guys say you're mobile friendly. That's one big thing. What, 90% of us, 99% of us have a phone on our hip at all given times. Talk a little about the mobile app and how it works.
Well, the mobile app, we have a mobile for everything. So we have a recruiter mobile, employee mobile, client mobile. Our onboarding automatically mobilizes. And the way it does it is, if you're onboarding, it'll look and detect if you're on a mobile device or not. If you're on iPad or mobile, it'll automatically optimize according to size. And so one of the ways that we found most valuable, especially in dealing with the many different industries, is we do a web link for ours. That works on every single phone type that you might possibly have, and it will automatically optimize properly. Everybody could use it. It's very, very simple. And when phone upgrades occur, your app still works. And so we do, mobile is absolutely huge. We even have on the employee mobile where the staffing company can in batch invite 200 people to a job. They'll see it on their mobile device. They can see the description and they could either say they're interested. And in some cases, if you already have these people prepped and you're searching for active people that have already been credentialed, et cetera, what you can do is the person can actually accept the job and be assigned from their mobile phone. Further, they could see their schedule. They could enter their availability, a lot of different things. And people are all electronic today. So mobile is absolutely essential. And we're able to actually modify and update it very, very quickly and very, very seamlessly. And our clients actually love it and use it. Time entry, mobile time entry, especially now with the pandemic, mobile time entry, absolutely essential. Onboarding, absolutely essential. Even be able to sign eDocs, very, very important on mobile. So we do all of that. And we've had mobile actually for years. Because we always like to be the first kid on the block to try something. So,
oh, as soon as you said that, I was thinking of new kids on the block. But by the way, with the app, it's candidate friendly too, right? Because I have worked with companies before. Once again, not going to mention any names, and the candidate can never open the app. It won't work on their phone or nothing. Have you had any situations like that, or is it very user friendly for the candidate?
Because we do the web link, it's very user-friendly for the candidate. They could make an icon on their phone, so it's just like an app. They click it, and it works on all phones. And when you're dealing with the different markets that we have, so you're going to have a nurse using it, and you're going to have a daily worker using it, perhaps. And they might even have a phone that was a disposable phone. They might, and so. Everybody doesn't have an iPhone. Everybody doesn't have an Android. Everybody doesn't have a top-end phone. They might have an old flip phone. Who knows? Mm-hmm. So this just works in all the different environments very seamlessly, and that's why we're able to offer that wide range and actually add features very quickly. This accept job feature is fairly new with us. It's only about a year old with us, where they can accept a job and be automatically assigned. Goes right into UltraStaff Edge too. So everything that they do is fully integrated. So any movement, even if a client is reviewing resumes and they click that they like that particular candidate, it'll automatically go into UltraStaff Edge, and we have an automatic email alert system too. So you can also choose to get an email alerting you to the fact that that time was entered or that person entered availability. Very important for unemployment too, because it logs that availability, it logs job refusals. So if you send out this mass thing and they refuse it on their phone, we also have text messaging where people can accept jobs from a text message. Yeah.
And texting is, who texts anymore? Everybody does, right? All my job candidates is texting. You answer the phone, they never answer the phone anyway. So it's all texting. KG, any other questions about this software?
So I guess the only thing, because I'm one of those people that's not that good at texting. Or, I might be looking on my phone and be like, I just don't like it. I don't really like, having full-on conversations on text. But, I might expand something or do something and, what they call fat finger something. Is there a way to undo an action that could, potentially be detrimental? Like you didn't mean to not accept the job and you just hit the wrong button. Are there ways to easily correct again, sometimes where we make a mistake?
Yeah, well, a couple things for that. So if you do accept a job, or more than likely it might be set to pending, because a lot of the staffing firms that we work with, they'll have them express an interest and then they'll staff them. But if they do have the automatic staffing, we also have the automatic notification back where it says you've accepted this job. So the staffing company can actually receive that notification. The confirmation is sent. So if they didn't really mean to accept it, they can actually, initiate a function saying, hey, I want to cancel, because there's also a cancel button or an absent button that you can have. And so that'll go immediately into the system and they could cancel that job on the spot. So all they have to do is look at the schedule part and then cancel, and it's done with.
There it is.
So yeah, so that's very, very interesting.
Nice. Okay, so here we go. Customer support. Anybody in the staffing industry, recruiters, when we call and something's down, we don't want to call somebody and they say, I'll get back to you in 24 hours. So tell me about your customer support
Yeah, so customer service has always been really important to us since Terry started the company. And we actually have an award-winning customer service team. We've won several awards for our customer service. And, one of the things that we do is we have a monthly subscription fee that's all inclusive. So if someone calls in and has a question or needs to add a cloud user or remove a cloud user, they're not paying extra for any of that. It's all inclusive. And there's also no click charges either. So there's no limit on the number of applicants coming in, no limit on the number of onboarding candidates going through. It's all inclusive in that all-inclusive monthly subscription fee, which is really nice. And then when someone does call us, they're always going to get someone that answers during business hours. And if someone's available in support, they will be transferred right away. If not, then they'll be logged in the service order system and someone will give them a call back. And all emergency requests are responded to within 30 minutes. We know that's extremely important. And if you do have an emergency request after hours or on weekends, you're not going to have to wait. We're always monitoring that, and we will reach out to you after hours because if it's an emergency, you need, a direct response right away. You can't wait for that. And then all other responses besides emergency requests are responded to between 2 to 4 hours. So pretty quickly we get back to you. And then just besides that, we also offer a lot of webinars too for our customers. We actually started a Tips with Tiff webinar a couple of years ago where someone on our client success team does these Tips with Tiff webinars. Her name's Tiffany, and she kind of dives into a different topic each month and talks about best practices and different uses for, different functions in UltraStep Edge. So that's been kind of fun. And she always makes a Bitmoji to go with each webinar. So just kind of make it a little bit more fun. Yeah. So that's one thing we do. And we offer other webinars too each month. And something that's also unique is we offer a free new user training session the first Friday of the month. So if you have a new employee starting at your staffing company, they can just join one of our new user training sessions and get trained from a senior systems engineer in our support team. So a staffing company doesn't have to worry about, taking the time to train them in the software. We'll take care of that. They don't have to worry about that. And all of our webinars are sent out, the recording, so they can view it later. And we have all of our webinars also uploaded in UltraStep Edge, so they can easily access everything that we have to offer. So it's really user-friendly for new users starting to use UltraStep Edge too. And then we also send out a client newsletter each month that includes tips and upcoming webinars that we're doing, but also upcoming industry webinars that we think might be helpful for them, and different resources, different news stories and articles that we include too in the newsletter. So really try to provide a whole bunch of resources for our clients to help them succeed, outside of even just using the software. And one of the things we include in the newsletter too is a trivia question each month. So we asked a trivia question about one of our team members, like who can speak 5 languages? That's one of the questions that we asked this month. And then the first customer to answer correctly gets a free lunch and learn training session. So that's just something kind of fun that we do in the newsletter too. Yeah. Try to make the newsletters fun, not just all boring information. So yeah, but we've always, really valued customer service, and it's extremely important to us.
There it is, engagement. KG, any final thoughts with any of the solution they talked about today? I mean, it's just A to Z right here. Boom. Everything you need pretty much is right here. And the customer service part at the end, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Now I'm excited about this, about ABD and Ultimate Staff Edge.
So where can they find you at? We have everything at the bottom there. I'm sure Jennifer's out in the field all the time. Terry's the guru in the office, I'm sure, with all cutting edge stuff. So just where can they find you guys at?
Yeah, so they can visit our website at abd.net, really easy, or follow us on social media. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. Follow us on UltraStep Edge. And you can find us on LinkedIn at Automated Business Design. So we're there. We're always posting things and also posting, industry resources too. So even if you aren't a customer, you'll find benefit in following us as well.
That's right. Terry, where can they find you at?
Right here, same place. They can find me at 800-944-4223.
There it is. Guess what? You can find them at the Staffing Shark too, because I'm definitely endorsing this solution here. It's incredible. Got 2 thumbs up from the Shark. What do you think, KG?
2 thumbs up. I thought you were going to wear your T-shirt today that you debuted yesterday on your Twitter.
I did a video on that. I decided to put the since I'm working from home in the studio here, to put the jacket on.
Okay.
Now, I didn't put the whole suit on, just to let you know, but I do have the jacket on.
I thought I was going to see the was it orange, the orange tee today?
It'll be on in the future, probably at the gym, and you'll see. I'll be posting it like I post everything. But, I want to thank both of you for coming on today. I mean, this is, like I said, this is a great solution. I can't wait to just deep dive in it myself and anybody else out there. They're part of our ASA family, so true to my heart on that. So if you guys are looking for an all-inclusive solution, reach out to ABD. All the information is below, or reach out to myself or KG, and we'll guide you in the right direction. So till next time on another Review It, take care, guys, and we'll see you all soon.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having